Hi, this is Daniela Wolf with Bestie Life, the podcast, and this is your community to support you through the little and not so little events that make up your day-to-day life. From the I've got this moments to the I just can't moments. We are here to empower all women to find and develop the skills they need to find peace, balance, and the bliss in their busy. Through solo episodes as well as interviews with amazing women who share their journey and their story and how it works for you. I hope you find the inspirations to make you laugh, think, as well as maybe rethink what you thought you knew, and connect as we realize that we are all living similar ups and downs and don't have to do it alone. So excited for you to hear this episode, and thanks so much for joining me today. Hi, this is Daniela with Bestie Life, the podcast, and today I'm excited for you to meet Brian Parana. We had a great conversation the other day. He is more than just a health coach. He is a transformational catalyst who's going to help kind of you balance not only your personal achievements, your personal well-being, and family responsibilities, but recognize that it's not just about the things that you do in the wellness area physically, but it's also your mental state, how they all tie together. Brian is more than just a fitness expert. His travels, if he tells us about any of them, have been wide and far. I'm so jealous because I love to travel. That's one of my hobbies. But thank you so much, Brian, for being with us today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Daniela. I really look forward to sharing some really good value tips and get people moving in the direction they want for their life and their health.
Yeah. Because I think self-care is the new healthcare. And so you can't separate that physical from mental piece of it. But I know I kind of scaled down your bio a ton, but can you share a little bit more about your journey in this field, though, because it obviously has been a long one.
Right. Well, the question that comes to mind first is most people know what to do, but are they doing the things that they need to that they know they need to do to get the results they need? We know we need to drink water. We need to move our bodies. We need to eat more vegetables, right? These are the simple, everyday things that have to happen to get to the outcome, a healthier, better, more energetic look, feel to the body, but they're not getting done. And over the last 20 years, personally, I married my high school sweetheart, fortunately, Amber, and we have 4 kids, 15 through 10, 3 boys and a girl, two high schoolers, 2 middle schoolers. It is crazy bananas. Every night we have to have a meeting just to figure out who's going where, when, and how to make sure everyone is accounted for, or who's doing dinner tonight, right? Then my wife is a travel advisor. She's taken us globetrotting all over. It's her profession. It's her own business. We've been to all 50 states and we're working on all continents. We're about 3 in multiple countries now. And I have the fortune of being able to experience a lot of that. So I'm living real life every day, trying to figure out finding that balance of having fun, working, taking care of myself. So professionally, from a personal trainer, gym owner, I've been a remote health coach, I have an exercise nutrition degree. All these things ultimately boil down to having thousands of conversations over the last few years, 23 to be exact. And it comes down to helping people find those small points of which all the gears stop, or the shoe comes untied, or they start to trip and fall and not make the right decision. And we'll share some of that today.
Yeah. So you initially listed some of those things that everybody knows they need to do,
right,
but they're not. What do you find are some of the common obstacles that kind of seem to trip people up when it comes to getting in the habit of doing these things?
The first one that comes to mind is the all or nothing. We have gotten into this behavior pattern around nutrition or diets, most importantly, not nutrition, but diets, where people have to go all in and they have restrictions, they have this protocol, they have these things that have to get done or not done, right? They have to avoid. And that starts to create this inconsistency from the get-go to not be able to sustain it long term. That is critically important in this game of taking care of yourself. Is a baseball analogy. People swinging for the fences, that's the all or nothing, but just trying to hit a single, getting someone on base, oftentimes is the route that you need to go in your health, but also in all sorts of different other areas in your relationships and business and parenting, because there's no parenting manual out there.
Yeah. I know. Forget what to expect when you're expecting. What do you expect when they're 10 and up?
Yes, yes. Well, there's 15 relationships in my household, and any which one way, 3 of them aren't going well.
Yeah. So that's the first thing.
Right.
Trying to take on too much. Is there anything else that
Right.
you kind of see?
So we fall into this middle gear mentality, something that I just threw out there once and it's stuck. And that's where we have to find that balance. The second one is starting off with the things that you can do and then building on those habits and behaviors, right? We know these things. If a client comes in, say John knocks on my door, figuratively speaking, for working with me. John, can I get you to move more than you did last week? Most of the time, for most people, especially if they're in an out of shape or overweight situation and they're really busy, because every single person I've ever worked with is, in quotations, all caps, maybe some exclamation points, is busy busy. John, can I get you to move more than you did last week? And then he agrees to that. And then that micro commitment, that's where we can start to leverage building more momentum and initial success. When he comes back in another week, Brian, I moved more than I did last week. Awesome. Good job. All right. Can we repeat that process, but make it easier this time and connect more positive emotion to the movement itself to then get that connection of feel good when I move my body? Because if you go do too many squats, what happens? Then
you're sore.
Yes, you're so sore, and then all of a sudden you can't move, and
Yep.
and then we're not going anywhere. So starting off with really easy, consistent actions that we can take would be the next thing to see.
Yeah, I love that you talk about momentum, because so many times I think people think it's motivation. You see that a lot with New Year's resolutions. They don't have that motivation to sustain them beyond a couple of weeks, but momentum, that's where the magic happens.
Agreed.
Yeah. And definitely, I think taking it small too. I talk about that with habits a ton as well. You have to start almost like so simple, you feel like it's ridiculous, in order to keep building on that.
Right. Now, if we were to say a third one in there, continuing on this theme of building momentum, the next thing is looking at the life limiters, in a sense. What's going to get in the way of you continuing these patterns of behavior? Most people don't even think about this stuff. You being a good coach, you totally would, right? You'd start calling out, hey, I understand your life to be pretty busy. You have work, you have kids, you have other responsibilities, because in my world, I'm 42 now. It seems like I've got the most responsibility I've ever had in my whole life at this point. And I'm like, wow, what in the world am I? This is interesting, right? Looking at your patterns of behavior, looking at the lifestyle, and starting to set up systems or processes to navigate the birthday cake celebration at the office, or navigate I forgot the schedule on the calendar, but my son has the baseball tonight because it's the summer. Things like that start to go off, and then you don't have a plan B. And that's where, we're just doing fast food, or I'm having the cake, or I'm just gonna not care at all and come up for breath in 1 week, 1 day, or 1 year even.
Right. I don't know if you ever heard the quote, failing to have a plan is a plan to fail.
Oh, 100%. Yep.
But then as I'm listening to you talk, and maybe I'm just always like looking for this, but I hear that mental piece, that mindset piece, because like you said, it's not always about doing the things. It's the way whether you're looking at your time, looking at the day, those types of things. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. Say nutrition, right? I speak to a lot of people about their food, their habits or behaviors around that. How do I get them to eat a reasonable amount of meals in a day? I'm not you got to eat 6 meals in a day thing that has kind of been debunked many years ago. To get progress, we need calories, a certain amount of calories. But one of the first questions I ask people is, do you know how many calories you're eating in the first place? And that's a good barometer for me to then ask other questions based on their response. Or we go into the next thing is, hey, when in the day is it most logical for you to put food in your mouth? You have to eat. Most humans, ever met are going to eat 3, maybe 4 times in a day. And I would count those as meals or snacks or whatever label you want to put on them. But when we realize, hey, I need to eat 3 times in a day to sustain my energy, stay alive as a human, you have to eat. And then you can look at the day. It makes 0 sense for someone to, in quotations, intermittent fast till noon when they have 10 to 2 o'clock meetings back to back to back, and they're not even going to come up for air till 2:30 or 3.
Right.
Why are we not eating at 9:30? To give us bandwidth to manage those 4 hours of meetings, to then eat again around 2 or 3, to then have dinner around 6, 7, or 8. That's very logical. And then as soon as people get some of the emotion or the myths out of the way and just look at some basic, addition of I need this many calories in a day to meet my goals of weight loss or weight maintenance or muscle gain for some guys. But when we play it out that way, it's like, oh, that's actually a lot easier for me to have this pattern of behavior around putting food in my mouth based on windows of opportunity. Example, I ate before we met on this because I want to have energy, and I hadn't really eaten much earlier in the day because I had other client meetings, I had other podcast opportunities I was guesting on and all. So I ate something because I have 2 other meetings after we're done. And then I can come up for air then.
And definitely, I want you to share your story a little bit more too, because I think a lot of times, we can talk about this in broad terms and things like that. But like you said, you're working full time, you're running a household, you've got tons of kids who have activities, and that's the thing I think where people get tripped up as far as, so what does it look like in real life? What does it look like when you are, just kind of going and then poof.
Right. Well, my particular life is full of navigating the schedule. I live or die by that thing. And even last night, and it wasn't impromptu, I just wasn't aware of it, whether it was my fault or someone else's fault for not putting it on there or me not paying attention and looking at whatever. But a swim meet, my son coaches, he's 15 and he's a swim coach, which is awesome. It's, hey, Levi, follow in your dad's footsteps, be a coach, right? That was 5 to 9. We were there 5 to 9. And I didn't know about it until the night before. That's a huge shift in whatever my plans were that evening to do. And then I had to make adjustments. I ate something before I left, and then I had food when I got back. I didn't need to take food with me. So those things happen just literally as much as yesterday. And I have to have plan Bs. My refrigerator's full as with 6 people. There's always leftovers. And I go in and the general format of any type of food nutrition approach I give anyone and just balanced meals, have some protein, vegetables or some fruit in there, a little bit of starch, and let's make sure it's seasoned and tastes good because then you'll eat it. But that's what I do. I go look at what the opportunities are in my fridge and I put things together in a way that creates that type of a template. And that's what I rely on. A system of approach around my foods. I don't have to think about it much at all. And therefore, because I have a system or a process, even when plan B or even C gets thrown on my doorstep, I can react in a way that still benefits what is important to me and my health just as a profession, but also just I want to live a healthy lifestyle. I see every day talking to people what poor health looks like and feels like. I'm not interested. I'd much rather figure out how to eat a reasonable amount of food, have a balanced approach, get my vegetables, get my protein. Okay, yes, when we go out, sometimes we do have ice cream. We will go to the post-soccer game. My kids I could just go down the fingers of how many events or activities of school things or sports they're in. But after some of those, hey, let's go for ice cream. And I will have the ice cream because I will plan it as a part of my day's calories and not additional to. And that's where a lot of people, unfortunately, go wrong in that particular example.
Right. I love the 2 points that you definitely brought up as far as how systems help relieve decision fatigue. When you have these systems in place, once the decision fatigue is gone, it creates such simplicity and opens it up to then, not feel like you're on the fly, you're reacting, you're doing all these
Mm-hmm.
things. So that system really is benefiting you. But also then, like you said, enjoy life, have the ice cream, have the
Yes.
cake. It's not about having it every single day as a part of it,
Right.
but definitely enjoying life, in moderation. You can overeat healthy things too. You can overeat,
Yes.
too,
Yes.
too
Too many
much.
calories
Too much
is
of
too
anything
many
is
calories.
bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I
You
think
know?
that's the good takeaway from life in general, right? Too much
Yeah.
spinach could be
Yeah.
bad for you. It'd take a
Absolutely.
lot, but yeah, it'd still be bad.
Absolutely. So then, it sounds like there's some meal planning involved, some intention in general, whether it's about your
Yes.
movement, how you're planning your food, how you're planning your life and your day
Hmm.
overall, regardless of what it looks like. That seems to be a key piece, would you say?
Yeah, totally. I think, as you probably would agree, coaching people is creating space
Mm-hmm.
for people to slow down to be able to speed back up.
Mm-hmm.
The path that most people choose when they show up on my doorstep's a bit rocky. It's rough, it's bumpy, it's hard to hold on to the wheel because they're not in a healthy body on for whatever their situation is. Let's get them back to a clear road and some driving lanes and all to get them back to a more smooth life and lifestyle. So we have to be able to navigate, manage the erraticacies of what life is on a day to
Mm-hmm.
day, and not just fall off because of any one thing that may or may not show up.
Yeah. No, I love definitely all these different principles and how you show how they all work together,
Hmm.
when it comes to supporting this. They don't exist in isolation. They're
Nope.
not a heavy lift, but by seamlessly kind of automating them is where you create a lifestyle, not just
Sure.
routines and, those types of things, but that whole lifestyle, that whole vibe that, so to speak, kind
Hmm.
of rolls with you. As part of that, I always love to ask, as far as gratitude is an underutilized form of self-care. So I always ask
Oh,
my guests, what
yes.
would you say are a couple of things that you're the most grateful for?
For me, well, my
Yeah.
family is a huge, obviously, focal point of what I do. I love my wife. I'm very fortunate that does what she does. I get to experience a lot of the world. So I'm really
Mm-hmm.
grateful for those opportunities. My kids are flourishing in school with good grades. They're in lots of activities. We try and provide them with as many opportunities for them to be ideally bold, confident, independent 20 and 30-year-olds when they get
Yeah.
there, and not just, hey, could I have some money? Or, hey, I'm just going to live in your basement. Or I keep going down dead end jobs or something like that, right? I don't
Right.
want that. So very fortunate. I'm blessed with what I do. I get to help people improve and empower themselves every single day. The stories that I have and could share endlessly, we could talk for days
Yeah.
on how people they realize they need to take better care of themselves, and they start to prioritize themselves first. And then they start doing that. The confidence and the energy and the limiting beliefs that go away, the confidence that increases, and they start doing things and attracting more of what's important to them. That's probably the second thing. And then lastly is I'm in my gym right now as we
Mm-hmm.
speak, and I'm just grateful for this is a 20-second commute to get to the gym, and I have all the equipment I need from owning two gyms. That's what you get.
Mm-hmm.
And I have two buddies that come over and work out with me. So I have a couple man friends in a sense, or other dads with lots of kids. All of them, the three. To get in my club, I guess you have to have at least three or more kids apparently. But they have three, four kids, and we bond over fitness, and that's been a crucial part of just my life for
Yeah, and
decades.
definitely, I always look at how you connect with others is
Hmm.
so vitally important. And sometimes, especially as we get older or we're invested in our businesses, we can
Oh
let
yeah,
go of those things. So I'm so
totally.
glad to hear that you're keeping on to that. So how can people find you, Brian? How can they work with you?
Well, right now I am out of all this I humble wisdom and knowledge or experience that I have. I have really shifted into focusing on men that are
Hmm.
in their 40s or 50s that have sacrificed their health for the business, for their family, and they're up weight. They don't really want to look at themselves in the mirror because they don't resonate with that type of who they had been in the past and whatnot. They're just not connecting or not actually living life. It's a little bit lopsided. So the calltorise.com is a 100-day experience, fat loss and self-empowerment experience. That's what I wanted to create and have done so instead of just information, right? You can Google the information. It's readily available. You can track your food and all this. But again, it goes back to, I know what to do, but I'm not doing it. I want to create a powerful connection between the act of doing and enjoying the process and making it sustainable so that this is something you never have to worry about or think about again. So the calltorise.com, and I have a 3-day fat loss Kickstarter that goes over some of these things that tell you exactly what to do, from some of the mindfulness, the gratitude. There's a nutrition plan, a workout approach for those 3 days to really just say, hey, let's stop, pay attention to you and start feeling better. So that's the Rise 72.
Awesome. And those links will definitely be live in the show notes below. So thank you so much, Brian, for sharing all of that with us today and for sharing everything you're doing, to help people get back on track.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
So much again for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please let me know any questions or comments that you have. Also, if you can please leave an Apple 5-star review so that this episode can be shared with more women. There's 2 quotes that I love. Alone we may be strong, but together we are stronger, as well as when women support each other, incredible things happen. So let's be stronger and incredible together, as well as maybe just have some fun along the way. Thanks so much and talk to you soon. Bye.